Can we start all over? What was I supposed to say again? Oh, and how long we're... Okay.
And, this is so awkward already.
I don't really,
and I keep moving. I'm sorry if I'm
Keep
like
hitting the
moving
tape.
out of the...
Yeah.
Okay. Can we start that over?
A little bit about my story is, I grew up in faith, pretty in-depth, pretty involved.
I kind of walked through life and just wasn't interested in him. I'd heard about him. I knew people that went to church, but that just did not interest me in any way. None of my close friends were in faith.
I met my friend Sarah in engineering school. Sarah started asking me a few questions about, where I was at with my faith, and I told her that I didn't have a relationship with God at that point. Then one thing led to another, and before I know it, we had a Bible study set up, and she asked me if I wanted to do it. I was thinking of the nicest way to say no. Couldn't bring myself to do it.
I never had a problem with my faith, but I ended up having a problem with church, and I actually fell behind that even when starting my family. I kind of took a back seat to the whole religious stuff, just didn't think it was for me, didn't think it was right.
2 years ago, I moved to Kansas City and met Rebecca, and she kind of was like, hey, I want to be friends. I'm just curious, are you a believer? Like, we can be friends, you don't have to be a believer. So she got me interested, and she said, hey, do you want to read the Bible with me in a year? Me and a bunch of other people are on this app. So I started, and I read, and I just became more interested, and I asked more questions. And me and Rebecca had not talked on the phone before, and that night, I don't know the exact night, I just know it was in July, we talked, and we read the Bible together, and she asked me some questions, and...
Whenever we went into lockdown, I thought we'd avoided the Jesus talk, and I was super excited to get a way out of it. But then Sarah asked if I would be interested in reading the book of John over Zoom. So that's what we did.
She prayed for me, and I just felt this sense of warmth and love, and it was the most amazing feeling I've ever felt. And I just knew in that moment, Jesus is real. He has to be real. How could I feel like this in this moment if he wasn't real? And
it was just one of those moments where it finally all made sense. But that moment whenever I read the book of John, and it says very clearly in there, all who call upon me should be saved. And just all these things in the book of John, in particular, I really like fishing. So reading about the miraculous catch of fish, I just thought that was so incredible. And
through prayer and through scripture readings and words spoken over us, I think that's been one of the biggest encouragements is just having people lay hands on you and pray over you and say, man, God's doing something great in your life, God's doing something great in your marriage, and just to keep pushing on and trust what God has for you.
As far as just truly becoming a part of this family and connecting with people in similar life frames as us, and just being able to really relate and be just free and open about our relationship with God.
This is the first time where I've actually felt where Christianity, it wasn't pushed and shoved down my throat. It was something that I was able to pursue myself, and to be surrounded by genuine people that are truly in love with God and truly faithful in their own faith and the Creator. It's awesome, and it's a great feeling.
I have a tendency to be very introverted, and it's easy for me when I'm not around people to revert to that. Serving gets me around more people and invites me into other people's lives and helps me experience God's presence in a different way than standing within the vicinity of people in a congregation and then go home.
How Christ has changed me from once upon a time, a very quiet but arrogant person. I felt the presence of God surrounding me and telling me, I felt in my heart, this is home. This is where you intended to be. Coming here was not an accident.
And also to add on to that, really just finding a family where we can be us. It doesn't matter where you are in your walk with Jesus, come. Like, we are here, and there's a place for everyone here, no matter if you know Jesus or you don't. There's a place for you, and we have found that there's a place for us. There's a place for our son. We're on our way to church, and he's just already talking about going to church, and that is something that we've prayed for even before we ever had kids, is that they would just know Jesus and they would love their church family.
So if you are thinking about it, you should read the Bible. That's all it takes. Just read a verse, and I promise you'll want to read another one, and it'll be amazing. Okay, I'm done. I quit.